Hey everybody, welcome back for another video. This is the Build Your Own Warband tag, and I am so excited. Like, so excited that it's like 10 p.m. here, and I had to stop what I was doing and record this because I have not stopped thinking about my warband since I was tagged by Jake Bishop. But it's worth it because I have had so much fun putting this list together. And in the end, I absolutely love my warband. So this tag was originally created by the brothers Gwyn. I will tag them and their wonderful channel below, link the original video. In their video though, they tagged Philip Chase. Philip Chase made his video and Jake Bishop watched it and thought, you know what? I'm gonna build a warband that can go head to head with Philip Chase's. And that is a battle I would love to see. In the end, I do think that their warbands would probably kick my warband's ass. Not because mine isn't awesome, but I did set myself some personal parameters that kind of switch things up. So I'm gonna get into the rules I set for myself. But first of all, I wanna say something really quick about spoilers. I'm gonna do everything within my power to make this spoiler free. But before I talk about each category, I'm gonna let you know what series I'm talking about or I'm about to talk about, so that if you haven't read it and you're very spoiler sensitive, you have the option to skip it. Like I said, I'm gonna try to make this spoiler free, so it definitely won't be anything that is like a major plot spoiler or anything like that. But if you're someone who likes to go into a series knowing nothing about it, these could be considered spoilers. Or if you've started a series and I pick a character that them being my favorite seems out of character for that character, does that all make sense? You know, if I pick somebody who you're still in book one and this is a kid who's still like a farm boy training with his wise mentor and he's not even good at the sword yet, and I pick him as my favorite swordsman, then that's kind of a spoiler because you're like, well, how did I know that he didn't die in this book or get his arm chopped off or something? And now she's telling me he's the greatest swordsman ever. Spoiler. So anyway, I want to be sensitive to that. So I will let you know what series I'm about to talk about before I get into it. All right, basically for this one, I set myself 3 general rules. The first one being only 1 character per series for the whole list. And that sounds pretty basic, but honestly, it was much more difficult than I thought it would be. For example, I could make this entire list only using A Song of Ice and Fire characters if I wanted to, because, I mean, it's like the best, and it has the best characters, and it has awesome military minds and great fighters, and like, I could make this whole list based just on A Song of Ice and Fire characters. So it made it very difficult for me to pick just one from that series. So I did set that for myself. I think that's what the other guys are doing too. So not that original, but it was more difficult than I thought it would be. The next rule I set for myself, and this is why I think that Jake's warband will kick my warband's ass, is I decided that for myself, I wasn't going to choose any overly powerful characters. Like Jake, he's really into that. But he's also not wrong. The characters he picked were great choices because you want to win, right? Well, I'm kind of more of a like, we're here to have fun. It doesn't matter if we win kind of person by nature. So that alone is going to get my ass kicked, I know. But that's just not my personal preference. That's not my style. I would rather have a warband that is put together based on the merit of each individual person and how they would interact as a team. Kind of more a realistic take on it. Hopefully. I mean, it is fantasy. There's magic. It's not that realistic. Don't worry. But I did kind of set that rule for myself that I wasn't going to pick one character that could just like blow up the world and be like, well, we won. That's not going to happen on this list. And the last rule I set for myself was that it has to be books that I actually like. And that may sound obvious, but for example, I have read most of Malazan, but I didn't really care for it. It would be very easy though to choose Malazan characters for this list because, you know, it's military fantasy. So there are military geniuses in that series. There are, you know, extremely powerful mages and wizards. There are incredible fighters. Like, I could make a whole list just based off of Malazan characters. So I did decide just to keep things really like authentic and genuine from me to only pick characters from books that I am a fan of. So without further ado, let's go. All right, the first question is quite straightforward. Who's going to be the leader? Well, clearly I am the liege lord. I am the queen, I am the lady of the land, what have you. But for the leader of my warband, hands down, no questions asked, I am going with Derfel from the Warlord Chronicles. Guys, in my opinion, this is just the ultimate example of loyalty and someone who lives by their oaths. And like I said, as the liege lord, I need someone who I know is going to keep their oaths and be loyal to me. Watching Derfel and Arthur's relationship throughout the Warlord Chronicles was just absolutely awesome, because those two men and the way they honor their oaths is just, I mean, what more can you ask for, okay? The reason that Derfel is the perfect warlord is because, I mean, not only is he an absolute killing machine that is very, very skilled with his weapons, and he is cunning and clever, and he checks all the boxes, but he's the type of man that men love to follow. Like, he commands respect. People follow him out of choice because he is the type of leader that would never ask his men to do something that he wouldn't do himself. Like, he's holding the shield wall. You know, he's the one out there in the mud, you know, killing with his hands if he needs to. He is, you know, he's acting as champion. He is fighting in duels. And guys, he's just the perfect warlord. Like, it's the Warlord Chronicles. It's his books. So I'm in love with these books right now. It might be some recency bias going on, but in the end, I do think that he is just absolutely the best warlord character that I've ever read, and I want him on my team. So the next question is, who is fighting as my champion? And I went back and forth on this one quite a bit. Like, I knew this person was going to be in my warband one way or the other, but I chose him as my champion because he has the resume to back it up, and that is Logan Ninefingers. He was Bethod's champion, and I believe he fought in the circle for Bethod 10 times, and every single one of his opponents went back to the mud, and this guy still stands. So undefeated is a good quality you want in your champion. Another reason, though, that he has to be on my squad is because, yes, he is my go-to guy for fighting my duels for me. But also, I just want him on my crew. Like, if there is an option of having him on my side or on the enemy's side, I want Logan Ninefingers backing me up any day of the week. Every day of the week. So it is a little bit of a risk because we got the Bloody Nine as well. Like, that could be either a hindrance or a helper, but I mean, we can keep an eye out for that, right? Like, we can keep a check on the Bloody Nine, because he has been known to be a little bit risky as a part of a team. But in the end, I think the benefits of having Logan Ninefingers on your team, they outweigh the risk. So absolutely, Logan Ninefingers is my champion. The next question is, who's going to be my counselor? Who is my military strategist? This is another one that was very, very easy for me. I chose Matt Cawthon from the Wheel of Time. Now, if you're not finished with this series, this might be a little bit of a spoiler, but I don't know any other way to say it. Basically, at one point in the series, Matt gets bestowed with the ability to access all the military minds of the past, military geniuses from throughout history. He has inherited their ability for strategy, for battle plans, and just instincts in general. And that, paired with his luck, is just an absolute banger of a combo. So Matt's going to be on my side, and we're going to have access to all that knowledge, but not just his, magical abilities, but people like to be around Matt, and people like to follow him, specifically soldier types. Like, he was made for military life, and he's a lot of fun, and I want somebody fun on my warband who can, while we're sitting around the fire and we're traveling on foot and we're doing all these things, he's going to be able to bring out the dice and stuff, and we're going to have a great time with the old commander. So Matt Cawthon for the win. All right, the next question is about who's going to be my wizard or my mage. And this one was a little bit tricky because it was hard for me to find a wizard that I thought was like powerful enough and had battle skills and all these things, but wasn't evil. Like, for example, I kind of wanted to pick Vilgefortz from The Witcher, but I don't really want that guy on my side because he's super power hungry and he's just a bad guy. So I decided to go with the wizard that puts the ick in magic. Yes, Harry, Blackstone, Copperfield, Dresden is going to be the wizard on my team. So I chose Harry for a lot of reasons. And actually, once I thought Harry, I thought there's no other option. Like, he's perfect for my team. So he is very skilled in thaumaturgy and alchemy. But what I'm most excited about is his evocation skills. So what he calls kaboom magic or battle magic. Like, he's really, really strong with blasting shit. And that's really important when you're in a battle, right? So he kind of describes himself as brute strength, like he is a magical thug. And really that's what we're looking for when we're doing battles. And when I think warband, I honestly think small skirmishes. And since I'm overthinking this on every level, like that's probably going to hurt me. But I mean, what things I need him to do, I think Harry is the strongest in. So he's got his blasting rod. He has, I think the death curse would come in really handy. I don't want him to die, but if he dies, at least he's going to take somebody out with him. He's got his energy ring. He's just a great guy to have around for a million reasons, but just as a wizard himself, like he's exactly what I'm looking for in a battle situation because he goes kaboom and blows shit up. And that's just like basically what I'm looking for. As far as a companion goes, I can't think of a better team member. He has a lot of cool stuff he can bring. He has Bob. He reads Lord of the Rings. He has an original Star Wars poster for crying out loud. But I think he would just be so fun to hang around with because he would do anything for his crew. Like he would literally die for his friends. And those are exactly the kinds of guys I'm looking for. And all that aside, even if he's magic, because, I like magic that has a cost, and Harry just can't keep giving and giving and giving. Like, it comes from energy. So even if he's worn out and can't go blasting shit, he still has a gun, Like, he is a pretty accomplished fighter on his own. So I think that Harry's a great choice, and I'm really proud to have him on my warband. The next question is, who's going to be the main swordsman on my team? Like, who is the skilled swordsman? And this is one that really tripped me up because I really wanted to put in a Song of Ice and Fire character here because there are so many amazing swordsmen in a Song of Ice and Fire. But I was thinking, Daemon Blackfire, obviously Sir Arthur Dayne and Barristan Selmy, Jaime Lannister. There are so many incredible swordsmen on A Song of Ice and Fire. In the end, though, I ended up saving my A Song of Ice and Fire pick for a character in another category, and I'm very happy with what I chose. So I looked outside of that world, and I landed on Ashok Vidal from the Saga of the Forgotten Warrior series by Larry Correa, and I am very, very happy with my choice. Like, the more I think about it, I'm like, oh, no, this is the right choice. So if you haven't read the series, first of all, stop what you're doing, go ahead and buy the first book, and then come back to this video. You've got to read the series. I love it. But this is one of the coolest swordsmen I have ever read. This could be a little bit of a spoiler, but it is explained pretty early on in the first book. But he fights with what's called an ancestor blade. And basically it's a magic sword that only he can use. If someone else tries to use it, it does not go well. They die. But the blade itself carries the memories of every other warrior that has wielded the blade. So only the best warriors can wield this blade in the first place. And then it carries the memories and the instincts and the fighting skills and prowess of every other ancestor blade wielder that has used the blade before that. So like, not only is he incredibly disciplined and skilled on his own, like he's probably one of the best swordsmen in the world on his own, but he uses this sword that basically tells him what to expect and what, it knows every fighting style, it knows every move, and it kind of tells him how to stay one step ahead all the time. So please read that series. The third book has one of the best fight scenes I've ever read, and it's all because Ashok is like a freaking cool swordsman. Next question is Axeman. And I should say ahead of time that being an Axeman is like my favorite thing you can be. It's my favorite weapon, and I think people who wield an axe are just immediately cooler than anybody else in the room. I didn't go Gimli. And I didn't go Robert Baratheon, And both of those were hard choices. But in the end, I had to go with my boy, Ganelon from Kings of the Wild. He wields this huge two-handed beast of an axe called like Syrinx or something like that. It's basically a type of spinal fluid. Like, who names their axe of a spinal fluid? That's so cool. But this guy is a bad motherfucker. Like, he is just a killer. And he's used to being he's part of a mercenary band, so he's absolutely used to being part of a team. He's kind of a loner. He's very serious. He has a very sordid past. Like I said, he's a bad mamma jamma. You don't really want to get on his bad side, but if you're on his crew, you're cool. So he is absolutely somebody I want on my team, because I can't think of any other Axeman that I would think would win against him. So I'm definitely picking him. Plus, he's just like a really cool character. So definitely going Ganelon for that. The next question is Archer. And I will give an honorable mention for this because everything inside of me really wanted to pick Camlin from Faithful and the Fallen, because I think Camlin would really get along well with my crew, and I love that series, and I really liked that character a lot. But in the end, I had to go with Legolas. And I know it may not seem very original, but we can't deny the fact that Legolas is just amazing. So he's an incredible archer. Like, we all know this. He is an incredible archer. But I need him on my team because he's an elf. And like, he's going to come in so handy as a scout and stuff, because I mean, he's quiet, he has his elf eyes and his elf ears, so he can see like he has binoculars on, and he can hear stuff very sensitively. He has basically a psychic connection with nature, and I mean, for crying out loud, he knows how to build a boat, and that is a very, very handy skill when you are a warband. So obviously he's an amazing shot. He has amazing strength, like in his, you know, the weight of the bow and the pull. Like, a human is just going to get tired way before an elf. So I just got to have Legolas on my team because he's Legolas. The next question is animal companion. And if you know anything about me, you know that I am a huge sucker for an animal companion. Another honorable mention, I absolutely have to mention Storm from The Faithful and the Fallen. Oh, it was hard for me not to pick Storm because Storm is an amazing animal companion. And if you haven't read the series, I don't want to give away too much, but Storm is a wolven. I love wolf characters, and it doesn't get much better than Storm. And I'm just such a well-written animal companion. It doesn't get much better than Storm, but it does get a little better for me. And that would be Greywind from A Song of Ice and Fire. Yes, I chose the animal companion category to use my one A Song of Ice and Fire character, and I have no regrets because Greywind is the best boy. So not only is he battle proven, like he is useful in battle. He was very useful at the Battle of Whispering Wood, but he's very intuitive and he's protective of Robb. I mean, he bit off Great John Umber's fingers, for crying out loud. So he is just the ultimate companion, and he had a very tragic ending, but in the end, he fought till the end. Like, he had the instincts. He was trying to tell Robb that, like, something's not right here, and he was right. But even still, to the very end, like, he totally messed up the kennel master at the Frey's place, and, like, it took a lot of crossbolts to take him down. So it's a tragic story, but it's a beautiful story. And in the end, I think that for my warband, it's gonna have to be Greywind, because I just think he's not just an amazing animal companion, but he's going to be extremely useful in a battle situation. And the last category was the wild card. And let me tell you, I went back and forth on this one a lot. But in the end, I'm very pleased with my choice. I chose Dritz Do'Urden from Dritz. Is that Dark Elf Trilogy? That's what I read. Dark Elf Trilogy. Anyway, guys, we love a small king. Dritz Do'Urden is a little tiny guy. He is a dark elf. And he is just absolutely, once again, somebody that I want on my crew. He is not only thoughtful and polite, but he longs for companions. So he's definitely going to be in it for the long haul, and he's going to be just really beneficial for the team. So he is absolutely legendary for his agility and his fighting skills. He's very fast and agile. In the Underdark, I know that he's able to wield magic, so he has skills and stuff that go beyond just being a great fighter and elf stuff. But guys, he also has some pretty terribly named weapons, so we might have to do something about that. But he fights with scimitars, like really cool long swords, 2 of them, very badass. But they are named Twinkle and like Icing or something like that, and that's embarrassing. So we're gonna have to do something about that. But you put those little tidbits aside, and he is like a pretty, I mean, like he'll mess you up with those scimitars. He is an awesome fighter. But one of the things that I'm going to include with Dritz, because he is the wild card, is that he has a figurine that he can summon a fighting panther named Guinevere. And so that's how I'm getting 2 animal companions in my warband, is because for my wild card, I picked Dritz, and with Dritz comes Guinevere. So that is my warband. I can't even tell you guys how much fun I had putting this together. So thank you for watching, and I got to know, like, tell me who's going to be in your warband. If you make booktube videos, please just tag yourself and do this tag, because it was really fun to put together. But more than anything, get in the comments and like, I want you to pair my warband up against your warband. Like, it's on. You've been challenged. Let's go.